You probably think your body is this perfect machine and you're the one in the driver's seat. But what if I told you it's more like a trillion-cell colony that's just barely holding it together? And one tiny glitch, one wrong move could be game over.
Yeah, most of the time your body is your best friend. It's got your back. But this explainer, this is all about the betrayal arc. We're talking about those rare but kind of spectacular moments when your own systems glitch out and turn on you. So let's dive in and see how your body can go rogue.
All right, we're going to start with stuff you probably do every single day without even thinking about it. And believe it or not, our first stop is a simple trip to the bathroom.
That's right. Something as simple as straining too hard can trigger what's called the vagus nerve. Now, this nerve is supposed to regulate your heart, but sometimes it just overreacts. It slams the brakes on your heart rate, your blood pressure drops like a rock, and boom, you pass out. The source material even notes people have died from what it calls aggressive pooping, which has to be a pretty wild way to leave the server.
Okay, now check out this design flaw. Your throat has two pipes sitting right next to each other. It's an evolutionary trade-off, right? This setup lets us speak, but man, it creates a huge vulnerability. You've got one pipe for food and one for air. So what happens when your body gets them confused while you're just drinking a glass of water?
Well, this is what's known as aspiration. A little bit of water goes down the wrong tube, the windpipe, instead of the esophagus. Usually you just cough like crazy and you're fine. But what if that cough reflex fails, even for a second? That water can block your airway, and you can literally suffocate. So we've gone from drinking too quickly to, well, not drinking enough. If you forget to hydrate, your body has this special way of punishing you. It creates these tiny, jagged crystals. The source calls them demon stones, which is perfect, because they have to pass through your urinary tract, and that is every bit as horrible as it sounds, and can cause some serious internal damage.
Okay, so we've seen how simple habits can backfire. Now, let's go a little deeper. We're talking about the actual weapons your body makes to keep you alive. Weapons that can turn against you in a heartbeat.
Inside your stomach right now is a chemical weapon, hydrochloric acid. It's an amazing tool, right? It kills bacteria, it helps you digest pretty much anything. The only thing protecting you from it is what the source calls a force field of mucus, which your stomach has to rebuild constantly, 24/7. And I'm not exaggerating its power. This stuff can literally dissolve metal. So you can imagine what happens if that mucus lining ever glitches, maybe from stress or bacteria. The acid doesn't just stop. It starts burning right through your own insides.
Now, this is where the body's survival instinct gets just absolutely ruthless. If you're in a situation of extreme starvation, first, it burns through your fat, no problem. Then it starts burning your muscle for fuel. But its final, desperate move, it begins digesting its own brain tissue to keep your other organs running. It literally eats its own hardware to keep the lights on. And yeah, that damage is permanent. So far, we've looked at all these malfunctions happening deep inside you. But some of the biggest dangers, they're hiding in plain sight right there on your skin. A simple toothache can be way, way more than just a toothache. An abscess is basically a contained infection. But if you ignore it, that infection can hop on a high-speed highway straight from your mouth into your bloodstream, or even worse, into your brain. And speaking of highways to the brain, there's a very specific spot on your face called the danger triangle. And it's called that for a very good reason. The veins in this area drain blood directly into a sinus located right inside your skull. It's a non-stop express lane for anything that gets into your blood right there.
This is why this is so important. When you pop a pimple in this zone, you're not just doing skincare. You could be creating an open door for skin bacteria to travel straight to your brain, and that could cause a fatal infection, meningitis, or a blood clot. It turns a simple grooming habit into a literal death trap.
Okay, so it's a hot day, and jumping into a cold lake sounds like the best idea ever, right? Well, your body might disagree, violently. The sudden cold can trigger an uncontrollable gasp for air. You can't stop it. If your head is underwater when that happens, you drown. But even if it's not, the shock can overwhelm your nervous system and send your heart into shock, or even cause a full-on heart attack. So after all these glitches, from the toilet to a cold lake, it becomes really clear that we're living inside this biological machine that is both awe-inspiring and, honestly, terrifyingly fragile. I mean, think about it. Our bodies are powerful enough to dissolve metal, but fragile enough to be taken out by a pimple. It is a constant, high-stakes dance, where your own systems are working non-stop to keep you alive, and a lot of that work is just saving you from their own potential screw-ups. So it all leads to this one final question. Now, these glitches are rare, of course, but just knowing they exist, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Can you ever really truly trust the complex, unpredictable machine you're living in?
Ooh, Lady Huxley creates a great time.